Kevin Haig.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. New Zealanders value in their Prime Minister someone who has a sense of humour, who has a self-deprecating wit. But, Mr. Speaker, they also value someone who applies gravitas and sensitivity when those are appropriate, and someone who has the wisdom and judgment to know which to use in which situation. The Prime Minister's personal poll ratings have been increasingly lagging behind the government's level of support from New Zealanders. So it's evident, Mr. Speaker, that an increasing number of New Zealanders now believe that the Prime Minister that we have now does not have the wisdom and judgment to make an appropriate call about which mode he should be in. And no doubt, Mr. Speaker, their opinion would have been bolstered by the Prime Minister's statement yesterday. That was unfortunate, Mr. Speaker. It was a series of try-hard sporting references, dad jokes, and then a gallop through platitudes about the economy, Mr. Speaker, when New Zealanders were crying out for courage, wisdom and leadership. Mr. Speaker, I was reminded of a Fairfax piece that I read recently about words used in this Prime Minister's State of the Nation speeches. He's given 8 of them so far. And in those State of the Nation speeches, he has used the word economy 94 times. He's used the word growth 63 times and businesses 54 times. In those 8 speeches, he has never used the word poverty. He has never used the phrase climate change. Mr. Speaker, the evidence is that this is a government that doesn't care about poverty and doesn't care about climate change. In this House, repeatedly, day after day, we have seen government ministers bat away challenges that they adopt a measure for child poverty. On our side, we've said, we don't care which one it is that you choose, just choose one and monitor that. And they consistently refuse to do it. And when it comes to climate change, Mr. Speaker, just days after the ink was put onto the Paris Declaration, our Prime Minister, John Key, was out there saying to New Zealanders, it's okay, guys, it's still business as usual as far as we're concerned. Mr. Speaker, they don't care. So it's tempting to think that this could be a traditional National Party government, one that just muddles along, actually doesn't do very much because it interprets action as being political risk. That's certainly the pattern that national governments of the past have had. But actually, Mr. Speaker, this is not a government that's bereft of ideas. It's just a government that's smart enough to know that it needs to hide its ideas, because if it exposes them, they will not be popular with New Zealanders. There's a government that fetishises economic growth. And we don't know whether that's because of ideology, whether they simply believe the old trickle-down theory that everyone will benefit, you know, rising tide lifts all boats and the rest of it, or instead whether it's because they genuinely believe that their job as government is to advantage the wealthiest few. But actually, it amounts to the same thing. The effect is the same. The effect is that they put economic growth as the entire goal of their government, and people and the environment are forced to serve that goal. And what that means is extracting as much value as they can out of labour and extracting as much value as they can out of the environment, which they think of as raw materials and waste disposal. Mr. Speaker, New Zealanders deserve more than that. New Zealanders deserve from their government long-term thinking. New Zealanders deserve a government that delivers a fair society and a sustainable relationship with the natural world, and understands that it's the economy's job to serve those goals. And above all, Mr. Speaker, New Zealanders deserve a government that will deliver leadership and a long-term vision. They do not have that now.